Hello and welcome to my survival guide on Gerald Croft, who I think would be a fabulous character to come up in your literature exam. So just like normal, I'm going to go through each of these elements here. These are all the things that are on the examiner's mark scheme, so we're going to make sure we touch on every single one of them in our analysis of Gerald. So to start off with, in our essay, we need to have a conceptualized introduction. Now I think Gerald is such a good character because he kind of straddles between the open-minded, tolerant youths in the play, but he also is from the upper classes and has that limitation placed on him. His approach to life and his choices that he makes are clearly dictated by the upbringing that he's had, so I want to capture that in my introduction. First of all, I'm going to give an understanding of the question that Gerald Croft is the fiancé of Sheila Burling and son of Mr. Burling's competition in business, so just established who Gerald is and why he's relevant to us. Then I'm going to give an overview of the points that I'm going to make. So Priestley presents a man so ingrained in his capitalist and upper class upbringing that he is unable to shift his attitude to life despite his initial regret and remorse over his role in the death of Eva Smith. I have no doubt that Gerald feels bad when Eva Smith died. I think he's heartbroken, to be honest. I think there was a very strong affection there. However, because he has been so ingrained in his capitalist and upper class upbringing, he can't possibly open his mind to allow himself to change and be different no matter how bad he feels. I believe Priestley also uses Gerald to demonstrate the conflict between the restrictions of class and capitalism and a human's innate desire to help, love and be loved. I think he's quite a sad character in that regard. What he wants to do and what he can do are two very different things. So to start off with, my first point about Gerald is going to be this one, that Mr. Burling says he's just the kind of son-in-law that I always wanted. This clearly shows that Mr. Burling adores Gerald. Gerald enhances Mr. Burling's reputation and his wealth. He is his ticket to the upper classes, and having him in the family rids Mr. Burling of his main competitor in business. So Mr. Burling really wants to make a good impression on Gerald, and he really butters him up throughout the evening. Gerald is okay with this, which is, I think, the sad thing. He allows his marriage to be used for this business purpose, this financial purpose, and he's quite happy to allow himself to be a pawn in capitalist progression. So straight away it's established that he is comfortable with his role in capitalism and comfortable that he is being used for other people and himself to make more money and enhance their reputation. This is also a big kick in the teeth to Eric, this. Imagine being Mr. Burling's son, sitting there having dinner, and then your dad says to this new guy that he's just the son-in-law that he always wanted. Really harsh. So Gerald and Eric are of similar age, experience and education, but Mr. Burling is far more dismissive of his own son, but very proud and excited when it comes to Gerald, showing that Burling's desire for reputational and financial enhancement is far more important than his love for his own family. So on to paragraph 2, and I would pick this one. Hope I can make you as happy as you deserve to be. And this is Gerald talking to his fiancée, his future wife Sheila. And here he is using the word hope. So he lacks Mr. Burling's confidence and his assurance that everything is going to be successful and good because of their rich, wealthy life. Mr. Burling says he wishes them the very best that life can bring. He was really sure they were going to be successful and happy for all the rest of their days. So Priestley is perhaps demonstrating the blind naivety of the new middle classes, i.e. Mr. Burling, or perhaps he's showing a greater social awareness of the younger generation. Maybe he's showing that Gerald, because he's a little bit more open-minded, knows that perhaps it isn't going to be as successful as Mr. Burling will blindly claim. But it also tells us a lot about his relationship with Sheila, and perhaps this is due to his dark, sordid past in dealing with Eva at the Palace Bar and his affair that he had. He knows that his marriage is not built on solid foundations. He knows that already he's been dishonest and he's already been disloyal. So perhaps is this a little hint that he knows that he is not going to be able to make her as happy as she deserves to be. Super, then on to paragraph 3, and I'll be using this one. We're respectable citizens, not criminals. I feel this is Gerald's key line. This is where Gerald is associating morality with class. So he knows that he has done wrong, however he implies that his class excuses it, which is deeply ironic that they are the social criminals and the one respectable character was not of their class, Eva Smith. But this also shows us a lot about the class system. It is an entrenched perception of classes in 1912 that the upper classes were apparently pious and moral and decent, while the deceit and the criminal activity were seen as a lower class thing. Gerald, although he has committed wrong, feels that he is excused of these things because he is apparently a respectable citizen of a higher class. Now paragraph 4. This is after it's all come out about his affair with Eva, and his fiancée turns to him and says, "The wonderful fairy prince, you must have adored it." And Gerald, in a lapse of honesty, says, "All right, I did." So it's a really great quote, this one, because of the rich language analysis we can get out of it. First of all, the fact Sheila describes him as a fairy prince. Fairies are not real, the same way his relationships have not been genuine and well-intentioned with either Eva or Sheila. Neither of them had a genuine chance of being successful, and was he really fully committed to Sheila? It doesn't suggest he is if he's playing away with Eva. But princes are also heroic and admired, so he wants to be that hero and save Eva. Due to his class, he ended up hurting her more. He went over her into the bar when she was in distress with another of the aldermen. He went and saved her from that. He bought her dinner, he found her lodgings, he gave her lots of money, and he enjoyed for the first time actually being a hero. In the upper classes, he's just one of many. Here he could be someone special. Now, this is quite key for Gerald, because it's very easy to bash Gerald, and you're right, having an affair is an awful, awful thing, but he hasn't had that affair for no reason. He's gone there because he's found something denied of him in his world. Eva had something for him that he could not have, no matter how much money that he had. So he kept going back to her, and he's absolutely devastated that she's dead. There must have been something that he adored. Maybe it was being needed, maybe it was being loved. But the key thing that Priestley is showing us is that being rich does not necessarily mean you're happy and you've got everything that you need. Right, so last of all, at the very end of our play, Gerald turns to his fiancée and says, "What about this ring?" Even though that she is giving it back to him because of his immoral activity with Eva Smith. This shows that Gerald has not changed. Dead or not, he is still cheated on Sheila, but he doesn't feel any consequence to it because Eva is apparently not dead or not even a real person anymore. Even though he knows he has done an immoral, awful thing to his future wife, he is still quite happy to go ahead with this relationship. So what possible motive can there be for this marriage if it isn't money or reputational enhancement? This shows that Gerald, even though he was emotional, even though he was sad, he is still so entrenched in that upper class mindset. He's still such a product of that rich, wealthy upbringing that he can't possibly change from this capitalist, selfish approach. We've also got this symbol of the ring. So this is a symbol of the material focus of the upper classes and what he stands to gain from the marriage, i.e. more money and more wealth. But a ring is also a never-ending cycle. So this might reflect the upper classes hurting, feeling bad, but then just going on to hurt again, which is exactly why we need the inspector in this play to break this ring of pain. So those would be my 5 points about Gerald. I think he would be a really great character to talk about because there's so much to get your teeth into in your exam. Very best of luck with it all.